You know we be with it, we off in the hood like some wizards. Nobody ever gave us anything. Meant something from nothing, just like magicians. Gotta relearn everything. Just to remember that I was forgetting. Just to remember that we had a vision. Did it all, don't know how I did it. Time to go star season to go and you know those crystal children. Let them know we in here, yeah, we in the building. Star season to go and you know those crystal children. Back up in the matrix, yeah, we know the mission. Star season to go and you know those crystal children. Let them know we in here, yeah, we in the building. Star season to go and you know those crystal children. Back up in the matrix, yeah, we know the mission. Off on the mission, you know how it goes. Off in the system, they turn up their nose. They took all the soil, but they didn't know. Through the concrete, you see the roads. Eyes ain't open, don't mean I ain't woke. Ain't got no cash, don't mean that I'm broke.
Welcome. Welcome to Ascending Beyond Limitations. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. And while you're holding it at the apex, ask yourself what your limitation is. And then as you're breathing it out, think about releasing it. Just think about it. You don't have to release it right now at this moment. You might have to do work in order to find out why it is, where it came from, and what you want to do with it. That's what ascending beyond limitation is. At least for me. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. My word isn't the only word in all of the universe. Yes, my word is the word of the divine. But that's word through me that the divine is living and seeing through me. Accessing information. The divine is accessing information in, through, and as you. What I want you to say right now, in, through, and as me, and then you get to say in, through, and as, and then say your name. Like this. In, through, and as Sandee, and point to yourself. Ra is giving us all the information. But it's giving us information so that we can take it in through, and as us, take it in, move it through us, and decide what we want to do as it becomes us. This morning I did a post. I said to my personality self, my ego self, move out my way. And then the personality said, why? How come? And I said, because I want more. And I've got to go get it. Go get it deep inside me. Move out my way. I don't want to get rid of you. Just move out my way. Your energy. I can't kill you because you're mine. Just move out my way. And as I find it, I'll teach it to you. That's all Ra wants us to do, is take the information, take it in as we see it fits us, utilize it, and then expand or shift and evolve. So are you ready? I know I'm ready. Are you ready, Marcus?
Oh, man. You know, I just gotta say, it is a blessing to be alive. And I'm grateful to be here. And I just really look forward to what Raw has for us as we continue to deep dive and explore the Law of One. You know, last week we talked about chakras. We talked about pyramid healing. And then we even talked about how our vehicle is actually a little more advanced than the pyramids now as a human being, and how we don't need the pyramids any longer outside of us for the things that we are using them for. And I gotta say, it's been a wonderful journey connecting the dots between ancient Egypt as well as ancient Maya and South America, learning how Ra contributed to planting the seeds within both of those lands when it comes to the culture, the way that they use math, science, nature. It's a very beautiful thing, I gotta say, with all this wonderful ancient knowledge resurfacing, not just in these episodes, but also in our mainstream world. We're seeing a lot of parallels right now of ancient knowledge coming alive to our awareness, not just through these books or through these episodes, but now on a grand public scale. And for me, that signals change, signals transformation, opportunities of deeper awareness. So then that changes our chemistry, the way that we perceive, the way that we relate, the way that we are a being of life and light. So that being said, may we ground into our bodies so that we may feel the stability, the purpose, and the abundance that we have in this physicality. And may we allow ourselves to activate so that we can continue to feel that we have the divine flowing through us, as us, and throughout all in the fabric of this life. That being said, thank you guys for joining us. Feel free to subscribe, give a like, give a share. We appreciate all the support. One love. Back to you, Sandee.
One love. I love that. There's only one unconditional love. We came into this existence with it. We did. We may not have felt it in the authenticity that we came in to this experience with. But as we moved along the polarities, the upper polarity, the middle polarity, the lower polarities, and we sifted and sorted through it, we got to feel vibrations of it. Ra said there's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad. There just is. No right, no wrong. No good, no bad. There just is. So our higher beings came in to this experience to feel, to see, to hear, to understand, to comprehend, to do it all through us. Just Raw says, we're going to give you the cheat codes. We're going to give you the cheat sheets. It's okay to have them because we've been there, done that before. A different vibrational time, a different vibrational planet, but planets that you can see and exist in the very dimension that you're in. Just kind of sort of out of the scope of what we call time. But they say we've been there. We've done it before. And guess what? The divine is going to let us. Matter of fact, the divine is encouraging us to give you the cheat codes. So here we go. The questioner says, would it be helpful to plot these cycles for the instrument and attempt to have these sessions at a more favorable point with respect to the cycles? They're talking about last week. We were talking, and the questioner asked about the cycling of in-streaming energy. And Ra told them there are 4 cycles. We kind of call them biorhythms. So the questioner is saying, should we do this for the instrument? That's the instrument that is channeling Ra. I am Ra. To that specific query, we have no response. It may be noted that the 3 in the triad bring in this energy pattern, which is Ra. Thus, each energy input of the triad is of note. May we say that while these the divine wanted to say instruments or instrumental systems are interesting. Ra used the word information systems are interesting. They are in sway only insofar as the entity and the entity or entities involved have not made total significant use of the catalyst, and therefore, instead of accepting, shall we say, negative or retrograde moments of periods without undue notice, have the distortions towards the retaining of these distortions in order to work out the unused catalyst. I'm gonna allow the divine to finish downloading for me. Simply put, we are given these various tools. We don't use them to their full benefit because we don't want to dive deep. In order for the tools to work with us, there has to be information given by you to sift and sort through, to give you the proper amount of information that you, your body, your mind, and your soul need. Ross says, it is to be noted that the psychic attack continues upon this entity, although it is only effective at the time in physical distortion towards discomfort. Attacks can only happen to you if you're open to it. And sometimes that's in discomfort, and that's in pain, and that's giving your discomfort and your pain more power than it should have. Doesn't mean you're not discomfortable. Doesn't mean that it's not distorted. It's about how much energy you're giving to that part of the distortion that's in your body or in your mind. For example, me and my hip. I notice with my hip, yes, I have pain, and it's caused by physical. There is some pain that's physical and there's some pain that's spiritual. But I notice when I wake up in the morning and I give the power of free will of joy into my body, and I start walking at first, there's nothing that my body feels but joy. Until I notice, ooh, there's no pain there. And then all of a sudden my ego goes, but there should be pain because of this, and this. If I allow that voice to return to what pain is and where it's located in my body, then sometime by the end of the day, I feel discomfort. That's the explanation that I can best give you using me as an example. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Your tools accommodate your vibrational alignment. How you feel about yourself, how you feel about your situations, how you feel about your circumstances, how you feel about the people that you talk to. Your tools, your spiritual tools, and sometimes your physical tools are being utilized by you to the degree that you're giving the information. I.e., giving information to ChatGPT is only based on how much information you give to ChatGPT as to what it's going to give you back. You are an embodiment of your whole story. Another way to say it is you're the lead character. You're the writer. You're the producer. You're the set dresser. You decide who the extras are going to be and who the day players are going to be. You decide who comes back into your life and who leaves your life. And the tools help you do that. The questioner says, is there some way that we could, as a unit, then do something to reduce the effects of the psychic attacks on the instrument and optimize the communicative opportunities? I am Ra. We have given you the information concerning that which aids this particular mind-body complex. We can speak no further. It is our opinion, which we humbly offer, that each is in remarkable harmony with each for the particular third density illustration or illusion at this space and time. At this space and time, we're letting you know we don't see it as a not as being beneficial to us. We are in alignment. Over to you, Marcus.
Ba-dum-bum. You know, I love this focus because as of late, been having some conversations with some community and just doing some community building, planning events and retreats and things of that nature. And speaking of retreats, for everybody out there, I have multiple retreats coming up this year in 2025, and they're going to be in multiple different states, some in Ohio as well. And if you guys are curious, you guys can visit my website, and I'll go ahead and put it on the screen for you guys because it's a little much to kind of explain because there's some periods in it. But I'll go ahead and type it in, and I'll put it on the screen for you guys. You guys can check this site out anytime. up on the screen. It's listen.to/Sacred Light Retreats. There's a couple periods in there, so where those periods are, it's specific. And then I have all the retreats listed, and then you can click on which one, and it'll take you to the registration and sign up form. So take a look anytime, check it out. But back to what I was saying was, I've been having these conversations, and we've been talking about how, our words and the way that we're telling ourselves what we believe and the way that we see things, and how we could, impulsively or reactively, put ourselves into certain words without being conscious of that and really intentional of our words. And we were just really talking about being conscious of, how it is that we are directing our energy, as in, where's our focus and where's our intention while we're trying to build this or while we're trying to create. So for example, if your main intention is to serve, and you want to do that because you want to have joy and upliftment and fun while doing so, then keep in mind if you start to maybe veer off into the frequency of, now I'm starting to think nothing but how much money I can make off of this. And we were just talking about just being consciously aware of yourself. If you're someone that's wanting to stay aligned with a certain intention, just staying aware and staying in tune, staying present with, am I starting to direct my energy maybe into a different intention or frequency than I'm intending to be right now? And then just when we recognize that, and you can feel when your energy kind of starts to shift a little bit, because now you're focusing on a different energy or a different intention. And the reason why we were talking about that is because we're space holders. We're hosting retreats, we're hosting events. There's people that are giving their souls up to us in trust that we are going to have a sacred and safe container for them. So integrity is a very big thing. So that's why we're having those discussions and just keeping things purified, so to say, with our conscious intentions throughout the process. The reason why I bring that up is because this is another thing I've been talking about is, the universe is very specific. The universe is going to listen to exactly the details that you're giving it, because that's what it's designed to do. So, if we're just saying, and I love this conversation too, if you're just saying, oh, I just want abundance, or, I just want to have this, or I want that, but you're not saying I would like to have this version of this that would bring me the most peace in my life. That would be something. But when you're kind of just leaving it open-ended, so you're just saying, oh, I would like this, but then you're not saying what kind or what type, or you're not feeling or sensing and envisioning yourself in that specific kind that you would like, then, if you get delivered what could be a different version of what it is that you called for, then there's no coincidence. There's no coincidences in the universe. We can go back to the Kabbalion again, and that's one of the Hermetic principles, is that everything is connected. Every cause has an effect. Every effect has a cause. So when you really start to come into the awareness and embody these principles more mentally, then you start to tune in with your mental frequencies that you're putting out and that you're giving more fuel to. And with that, you just become a little bit more in your own power. And when you come a little bit more in your own power, you then are able to feel more in the driver's seat of your being, as in, I recognize that I am the one that is responsible for the way that I'm giving the energy into this world. So now I'm going to go ahead and take mastery of myself and decide for my own self through my actions, my thoughts, things of that nature, that this is who I want to be. And in order for me to be that, then I got to embody that so that I can really be it. And then I'm going to continue to fuel that, do things that build that. And then more of my life becomes that, inside and out. And that's how it's been for me. You know, you can go back, rewind. 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I was getting high on cocaine, Molly, ketamine, ecstasy, mushrooms, LSD, alcohol, multiple times a week. Selling drugs. Went to prison in 2017. Here I am today. Doesn't just happen. It didn't just like, oh, I went to prison and all of a sudden I just became a prophet or something. And like, no, there's everyday life things that I did as a human being that helped me get to where I am now in order to be as aware and as in sync with my own being and in relation to the world because of actions, discipline, consistency, different practices. There's a lot of things out there for us. And it's one thing about the 3D world is action. You know, we can cry all we want. We could complain all we want. We can struggle and suffer all we want. But I'll tell you what, though, I don't know if a magical man from the sky is going to come down. I haven't seen it yet. What I found out is that magical person in the sky is also connected to me within me and is also ingrained in every single fabric of my cells. And I can talk to him. I can chat with him. And he can also chat with me in any moment with no third party. I feel like this is starting to turn into another rhyme. Just one more time. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to Sandee because I know we're just starting to feel a little dandy.
Yes, we are. Feeling a little dandy.
Ooh.
High on life. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that the divine said through Marcus that you can ask for abundance, but what are you vibrating in? Because where you're vibrating, what thought you're vibrating, what modality of life you're vibrating in, that's what the divine is going to say. Your wish is my command. Here comes an abundance. So if you're being spiteful or hateful, and you say you want something more abundant, but you haven't been really dropping little nuggets each and every day about what you see or feel abundance as being for you, the divine is going to give you an abundance of being spiteful or being hateful. And it's not like it's going to create it for you. You create it. It's just going to it's going to just shift you to a pathway where there are these doorways that give you more abundance of that. Now, if you don't say, oh shit, that's not what I wanted, and then actually say, oh, let me put some bullet points in here. I want more abundance of, I want peace, and then I want abundance of that. I want serenity. I want abundance of that. I really don't want to spend time hating and judging people. And then whatever it takes to get there, then I want abundance of that. We are the creators. We are the illustrators. We get to have a conversation with our higher being within us that gets to help point us in the direction of where we need to go to dive into that abundance. And then we need to, like Marcus says, become the embodiment of that which we want to have more abundance of. I remember my mother used to say, "Oh, Sandee, I know people are saying, believe it when you see it, but hey, how about doing it the other way around?" I don't even think my mother was, there was no such thing as manifestation back there. I mean, in the Western world in that time that she grew up in and the time that she was raising me in, there wasn't a DVD or a movie that she could dive into. I believe that the divine was speaking to her in all the information that she was given by going to church and by living life. And basically she said, you got to see it before you believe it. No, you got to believe it and be it. And she said, be it a lot before you see it. Most of us as children did that quite often. It's called make-believe. It's called playtime. So the questioner says, I would like to ask questions about healing exercises. The first is, in the healing exercise concerning the body, what do you mean by the disciplines of the body having to do with the balance between love and wisdom in the use of the body in its natural functions? I know that's a run-on sentence as a question, so I'll slow my roll and I'll read it one more time. The questioner says, I would like to ask questions about the healing exercises. I know Marcus is jumping up and down in the seat. The first is, in the healing exercise concerning the body, what do you mean by the disciplines of the body having to do with the balance between love and wisdom in the use of the body in its natural function? Here we go. I am raw. We shall speak more briefly than usual due to this instrument's use of the transferred energy. We therefore request further queries if our reply is not sufficient. The body complex has natural functions. Many of these have to do with the unmanifested self and are normally not subject to the need for balancing. There are natural functions which have to do with other self. Among these are touching, loving, the sexual life, and those times when the company of another is craved to combat the type of loneliness which is natural function of the body, as opposed to those types of loneliness which are of the mind, emotional complex, or the spirit, or of the spirit. When these natural functions may be observed in the daily life, they may be examined in order that the love of self and love of others versus the wisdom regarding the use of natural functions may be observed. Equally to be balanced is the withdrawal from the need for these natural functions which regard other self. On the one hand, there is the excess of love. It must be determined whether this is love of self or other self or both. On the other hand, there is the overbalance towards wisdom. It is well to know that the body complex, so it is well to know the body complex so that it is ally, balanced, and ready to be clearly used as a tool. For each bodily function may be higher in use and higher, if you will, complexes of energy with other selves or self. No matter what the behavior, the important balance is the understanding of each interaction on this level with other selves, so that whether the balance may be love/wisdom or wisdom/love, the other self is seen by the self in a balanced configuration, and the self is thus freed from further work. Either you're doing it by love, unconditional love, and then wisdom, or by wisdom and then love. Either way, you get there, wherever your there is. But one is maybe a little more free-flowing than the other, depending on you. Over to you, Marcus.
Something that's coming through me right now, this moment. And it goes something like, are we making the outside more important than the inside? Usimea chuya mayate umayanatu imeyashune matu yayakuayana yamayaku yemeyasu yamayaya uyeya. I'm hearing, come now, come back. Ravel it back inside. Ravel the chords. And just realize it's all right now. If we may, just take a big deep breath, breathing in through the nose. Allow that breath to travel all the way through your body, through your cells, and your pores. And breathe. It's truly amazing what we can do by bringing it back to center, and how very quantum-like, if that's the word you want to use, swiftly quantum-like, we can all of a sudden just evaporate all of the outside world from it mattering. And if we can remember that we can access that, and we can do that consciously at free will, I'm telling y'all, you really feel like that video game player or Neo in the Matrix, as a lot of us like. I'm telling you, man. Whew. Wow. So something else that I've had conversations about specifically yesterday is self-limitating. And not just self-limitating, but also premeditating and predestinations. And it's tough, very tough in this world full of propaganda and media and everything else under the sun. But it's very subtle. Those subtleties become more than subtleties, though, as time goes on. And we're continuously programming ourselves. And an example of that is, so say we're dealing with an ailment, if we're dealing with something to deal with health or wellness, and say, you're in pain or you're kind of struggling with it, and we've been so conditioned just to normally just say and believe and just think that it's like a fantasy or very extremely difficult for our body to heal itself, or for there to be something from the earth that was made exactly to help with alleviating that ailment. But we've been so programmed as human beings in this world not to resort to that kind of thinking as our primary thinking for a lot of us. And that's that mindset of, oh yeah, this human being is designed to generate itself, to heal and repair, to realign back to its balanced form. And it does that automatically. So therefore, that is happening. Even though I had this experience, I'm still continuing forward and rebuilding. And with that, I'm also going to support inside and out the energies and vibrations for that repairing. And then so it is. And then it's going to happen. It is happening. And now it's in motion. And then you embody that by doing the actions that align with those words. So if you're dealing with some physical health issues, but you go and continue to eat all that sugar, you continue to go eat all that stuff that's causing inflammation, it's causing cancer cells. I mean, what do you think you're going to get them? But you're eliminating the things that are causing the issue in the first place. And then you're doing things that help complement energetically. Then it's simple math. It's 1 + 1 = 2 then. Because what is what is. If you're doing the things that bring your embodiment, your programming, your chemistry into a certain alignment and frequency, then that is what it's going to be. If you're doing things that are going to keep you in a certain frequency that is damaging, that is dissolving you, that is blocking you up, same thing. So just think about those little mindsets, belief patterns that you may subtly be saying. Even if it's something like, I don't even know if I'll be able to find something to heal this. Or that, it's impossible for a certain part of you to rebuild. But again, just try to redirect it to the possibilities, the what ifs, instead of helplessness, victimhood, lack of abundance. So yeah, it goes a long way, especially for me. I noticed, I healed a fractured rib last year. I fractured my rib in November. It was a back lower rib, floating rib. So that means sitting, laying down, I was putting pressure on it. And I was very active. I hosted events, carried stuff up and down stairs, drove, took care of my dad with a fractured rib. Not only did I do all that with a fractured rib, but I also accelerated what is the average healing process for a fractured rib. And I healed my fractured rib under 3 weeks. It takes a fractured rib 2 to 3 months to fully heal, according to average medicine in the Western world. It took me not even 3 full weeks to heal my rib. But I'm also someone that's not putting poisons in my body. I'm not putting heavy metals and toxins in my body. I'm drinking clean alkaline shungite water. I'm not filling myself with a bunch of artificials and sugars. I'm eating things that are giving me vitamins and minerals. And when you keep your vessel only consuming vitamins and minerals and what is of good usage to the efficiency and the well-being of your health, then you're just going to become more and more of that. And not just that, but when you feel like you find yourself kind of getting into a out of balance vibration due to your patterns and your routines and your habits that you've developed aligning with these alkaline and healthy ways, it's going to be more quicker, more natural, and more easier for you to redirect yourself back on the course if you feel like you're getting out of balance because you've been conditioned to now know what is right for you. And when I say right for you, I don't mean like a right and wrong standpoint, but I mean what resonates for you and what you align with. Welcome back, Sandee. I was just talking about power of the mind as well as consumption when it comes to our vibration, and kind of giving a little bit of a perspective of, if we're consuming these vibrations, then this kind of thing can happen for us. If we're consuming these kind of vibrations, then we can be like this. And the example I was giving was my fractured rib. I fractured my rib last year in November. And I'll just share the story again because I know there's some new people in the chat as well. And welcome in, everybody. Feel free to show some love in the comments. Would love to see your guys' faces and see who's in the chat. Thank you guys for being here. I hope you enjoy. Get some good water, some tea, snacks, and allow yourself to get comfortable and enjoy these vibrations. But yeah, I was just talking about how, welcome in Janet. Janet is a raw juicer that I just got connected with in the community, and she'll be on my podcast this month, actually. She'll be talking about juicing and detoxing with juicing. And welcome Ali, Susanna, my queen Rhonda. Welcome everybody on the Facebook side. Thank you all. So yeah, I was just talking about, my fractured rib. Lunar Queen, everybody. Allison in the comments. She has a crystal shop that she owns by herself online. You guys can check that out anytime. Just reach out to her. So I was just talking about my fractured rib, and then hello, Erica. Visiting my fiance at the cemetery, doing some oracle cards. Oh, wow. That's a very transformative energy for those energies around you. Thank you for doing that. So this story, God, I love all the love out here, man. So this story, so yeah, I fractured my rib in November, and I also had a concussion as well. And I'm not going to get into the whole story because that's all besides the point. But what I'm talking about here is that, I fractured my rib, and they say in Western medicine, in the average of our regular medical system, it takes a fractured rib about 2 to 3 months to fully heal. That's the normal average, they say. So Not even 3 weeks, I healed my fractured rib. But how, Marcus? How did you heal your fractured rib in under 3 weeks when it's supposed to take 2 to 3 months? And that's the key, is I take out the shoulds and I make sure that I'm not telling myself that everything is defined by the should. But what I'm really about to explain is that the mindset is number one. Mind. What are you believing about yourself? What are you believing about your power, capabilities, what you can access and do with the source? Now, are you subtly telling yourself, I'm going to be healed in 3 months? Or, oh man, I got to go through this process for 3 months, as if that's your finite reality and you're bound to that. Now, if you are, I mean, you've been in these episodes, you know what that means. It means you're attuning to that timeline. But for me, what I like to do is I like to keep myself open. And what I mean by open is I'm not defining how long this is going to take. I'm not my ego self that really doesn't even know. I'm not deciding how long it's going to take. I'm just going to surrender that to the divine. And I'm going to trust that the divine, universal life force, the Reiki energy of life, is going to work through me. And not only is it going to work through me, but me through my own actions, I'm going to align myself to support my self-healing process. Because I also trust and know that my body is automatically designed to regenerate itself. And it is right now, actually. And it always is. But am I getting in the way with that? Or am I supporting it? So then, after the mind, now that I'm left open to quantum physics, basically, miracles, the power of now, in any moment I could be healed then. Because we're not defining it, we're allowing it. So then I step into the emotions. Am I helping clear out the emotions that are going to keep me off balance, that are going to block me up or keep me overflowing to where I'm leaking out and I'm draining myself, especially when it comes to the rib area? Am I taking in stress, or am I continuing to do things that are going to then store into that rib even more? So making sure that I'm keeping my emotions clear as well. How do you do this? Breath work, meditation, probably not yoga if you have a fractured rib. Took me I healed it in 3 weeks. So it didn't take me too long, but I was doing yoga again. But, just light stretching in the areas that you can, breath work, meditation, those things all still help you release your emotions and energy. So then moving into the physicality, the body. How did I support this process of healing my fractured rib in under 3 weeks when it's said that it's supposed to take 2 to 3 months? Physicality. I consumed ingredients, I consumed things that were going to help support nutritionally through vitamins and minerals and complementary things were the only things I was consuming. So if we're consuming a bunch of things that have heavy metals and toxins and heavy densities and super hard to process, I mean, do we think in a logical standpoint that's going to bring the most optimal grace and ease to the body while it's trying to focus on healing? I don't know. Let's let you decide for yourself. But for me, what I started realizing was, if I'm consuming only vitamins and minerals and things that help really rebuild and boost and regenerate, give life and vitality, strength, and other things like that, and that's all you're consuming, then that then turns into simple math, basically, of 1 + 1 = 2. If I am the way I am, I'm only consuming certain frequencies and certain things, and we know that we're energetic beings, that changes the chemistry of our being through what we consume, then we become what we eat, right? That's what we say. So that means if I'm continuously eating and drinking vitamins and minerals and other regenerative and repairing things, then it sounds like to me I'm on a one-way track to healing and repairing. So, that was kind of just like my mind, emotion, and body actions that I was using to help support that process. And the wonderful thing about it is it wasn't that I was just doing it or forcing it. It was that I was being harmonious with my body. I was listening to it, and I was complementing it with the things that helped it with its self-healing process. Our body's very capable, but it needs that trust, and it needs to be treated like it's capable. That's what my body kind of is telling me, is developing that trust in it. It's going to tell you what it needs at the moment, but are we listening to that? Or are we just rejecting it and saying, oh, whatever, and then we're going and, getting that soda? So I'll leave it at that. Back to you.
And everyone, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. What works for one might not necessarily work for another. You have to find your authentic point of balance. And we're not telling you that you have to be like us. I know for me, I started somewhere. I had to grow into understanding how to transform, understanding how to alchemize. I mean, that's what I'm going through now, is learning how to merge body, mind, and spirit in all areas of my life. I thought once I became spiritual that nothing bad was ever going to happen to me. I thought, oh, I'll never be tested. Oh, I'm going to be, everything is going to come up roses, right? And what I did was, I did like most human beings do. They go from one extreme of an end to another extreme. They never touch ground. And the midway, like Marcus said, he had to grow into that. Once upon a time, he did X, Y, and Z, and now he's, he had to walk that middle ground. He had to feel what it felt like to be him and do the things that he did in order to grow into the individual that he is now, and be able to listen to his body, be able to merge body, mind, and spirit, and do it in a complementary way. So when individuals who are starting at a baseline of, I never knew I could do this, and they're on some type of medication, I would never tell them to stop taking their medication. I would tell them to start looking in to those medicines that will complement them better, and keep an open dialogue with your doctor. Remembering that your doctor is giving you a choice, you don't necessarily have to take it. But when you're ready to let go of the choice that they're giving you and dive deeply into yourself and your spiritual healing, which means that if you're choosing to go the non medical way and choosing to go to holistically, you have to embody that. You can't be willy-nilly about it. You're going to get exactly what you put out into the universe. If you put out willy-nilly, the universe gives you back willy-nilly. And I use myself as an example that 20 years ago, when I was first learning about the law of attraction, I chose to use the law of attraction to support me, but I was still doing radiation. Yes, it was a stage 0, and yes, it was my choice. They gave me the option. I said, do it. Scared as hell, yes, but learning about how the law of attraction could help me, learning the information that the DVD that my son acquired for me called the law, The Secret, which they were teaching the laws of attraction. And my son brought it to me saying, this is what you and grandma have always said. Call those things that be not as though they already were, as though they already existed. And I took that information in from, I mean, they had several commentators on there, and I was just taking all the information in and deciding what I could use, what embodiment. I didn't even know that word at that time. How I just started doing it. All I knew is the embodiment was, I'm not dying today. That was my verbiage. Not today. And I began to feel what my higher being was telling me. I was only at the feel stage. So I could see through others, through this video, I could see the vibration of the eyes of people as they were telling their stories, sharing that information. They weren't telling people not to do it or to stop doing what you're doing. They were just saying, this is what I did. So fast forward 20 or actually 30 or 40 years to this the stage 1 category. I already had information in my tool belt. And I got to ask a question, guys. Instead of why me, I got to ask why now. Because I have always been talking on my page that we are multidimensional beings. We are body, we are mind, we are soul. We came into this infinite duality to make choices, and everybody gets to make a choice. I made my choice. I had my surgery. They removed the lump. I did the radiation treatments based on my thought process and how the divine was going to walk me through how to alchemize that energy that already had a different story. To acknowledge the story that the radiation had, the machine had, and then as I was under it, to change the story of that energy. That was my choice. It was not looked upon as, ooh, you should do that. I got a lot of pushback. But do I tell the pushback, the story of the people that were pushing me back, or do I tell my story of how I wanted to heal? Because there are a lot of people, I don't know why the divine has me on this. There are a lot of people that are waking up, but they're not strong enough to just get rid of their medicine and dive into that deep end and be like me, or be like Marcus, or be like any of the other people that are holding space for them. They have to learn it. They have to learn how to embody it. We have to teach them. What good does it us teaching them if they just get off all their meds and they die the next day? That's what the divine said. This is why now. We get to embody it all. We get to live through it all. We get to share what we call our traumas with others and share how we did it. And then give them the option, the free will choice, the gloriness of being a sovereign free will being coming into this duality to change it all. So what works for me may not work for you. What worked for me at stage 1 surely might not work for somebody at stage 3. But if they're listening to me, they're going to get a little something of it. It's about us using our tools and our gifts. It's about us understanding what collective means. It doesn't mean just because you and you, collective means all 8 billion, well over 8 billion of the world is seeking itself. It's seeking itself through every creation that comes into this portal. Whether it's human, whether it's a plant, whether it's a fly, whether it's a turtle, whether it's an alligator, seeking itself in all beingness. Everybody's going to use their gifts one way or another. They get the choice to use it for the highest and greatest good of others, and they get the choice to use it for just only them at the expense of others. That was a free will choice that they get to make. Now, you get to decide if it's right or wrong and if it fits you. That's where right and wrong fit into this duality. Because if it doesn't fit you, baby, you say, next, until you get to the moment where even though things are going on outside in the world, it's just background noise. It's all that is and is not is your playground, if you so choose it. So let's go on. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. The questioner says, then the second question is, could you give me an example of how feelings affect portions of the body and the sensations of the body? I am raw. It is nearly impossible to speak generally of these mechanisms. For each entity of proper seniority, it has its own programming. Of the less aware entities, we may say that the connection will be often and seem often random, as the higher self continues producing catalysts until a bias occurs. In each programmed individual, the sensitivities are far more active. And as we have said, that catalyst not used fully by the mind and spirit is given to the body. Thus, you may see in this entity the numbering of the arms and the hands, signifying this entity's failure to surrender to the loss of control over the life. This is drama, or this, thus this drama is enacted in the physical distortion complex. The questioner, in the questioner, we may see the desire not to be carrying the load it carries, even as given as the physical manifestation of the soreness of those muscles for carrying use. That which is truly needed to be carried is a pre-incarnative responsibility, which seems highly inconvenient. In the case of the scribe, we see a weariness and a numbness of feeling ensued from lack of using catalyst design to sensitize the entity to quiet, significant influxes of unfamiliar distortions, complexes of the mental, emotional, and spiritual level. As the numbness removes itself from the higher or more responsive complexes, the body complex distortion will vanish. Thus, this is true also for other examples. We would note at this time that the total efficient use of catalysts upon your plane are or is extremely rare. The questioner says, could you tell me how you are able to give us information like this with respect to the first distortion of the law of confusion? I am Ra. Each of those is already aware of the information. Any other reader may extract the heart of meaning of this discussion without interest as to the example sources. If each was not fully aware of these answers, we could not speak. Remember, Ra cannot usurp our free will. We're free will beings, and Ra can only speak to those that are in accordance with the vibration. So that's why he spoke of it. Because even though they're not using the tool, body, mind, and spirit, in body, mind, and spirit, in the accordance as to how the tool is supposed to be used, they still know a little bit, so that the information that Ra gives them, they can expound upon it. They can grow it and define it for themselves, and eventually, hopefully, move in to the vibration of wholeness instead of distortion. It is interesting that in many of your questions or queries, you ask for confirmation rather than information. This is acceptable to us. So basically what Ra is saying is, you're asking what you think you know already. So it's acceptable to us. You just want confirmation of what you already know. So therefore, we can expound upon it. We don't just have to say yes and period. What kind of conversation would that be? Back to you, Marcus.
I love it, man. I love how specific we're getting about, setting our intentions and the way that we're communicating to the universe. And I'm just so grateful. Grateful. It's always so fun and fascinating to see the synchronicities in life, when these have literally been like big conversations for me the last 2 days. And it's so fascinating the way our vehicles operate. And I actually have to grab the door real quick.
Problem. No problem. While he's grabbing the door, I'm going to say hello to Leah, Rhonda, Allison, Erica. Welcome in. I know you're from his Facebook page. I am so glad to be introduced to his Facebook family. And he's back.
I'm back. I just had to get let the maintenance guy in. He's changing our microwave stovetop bulb. The little things in life.
Yes,
I don't remember
the
what I was
little
saying.
things in life.
The little things in life.
We're a tool, as well as body, mind, and spirit. We're a tool. We get to use it. There's no right or wrong how we use us. We came in all for a experience. None of us, two individuals are going to experience it the same way. Now we've come in, some of us have come in to do it collectively, but stories are changeable. They are changeable. While I believe that God did not make a promise for everything to be perfect, I do believe that the divine, the creator that created everything for itself to feel, see, and know itself, created the ability to change. Scientists call change exactly quantum energy. Everything is going to change. Everything, if we want to say it the human way, everything is promised to change, to grow and expand, to become. I feel just like Marcus feels that this first half of book 3 is about your energy centers. Ra wants you to know that you're a very powerful being. I call it, after knowing that you're a human being, then you get to know that you are a human becoming. Now that Marcus is centered from opening the door and the energy of his maintenance guy, back to you, Marcus.
So, as the DJ drops the beat, dance break. To the Pharaoh. Holy. See, guys, we always got free will. If you ever want to, just dance it out. You just let that energy flow. Even if you feel it grinding your teeth as it comes out, or makes you want to scream or yell, just let it out. I'm telling you, it'll be the best feeling in the world. Oh yeah. Uh-oh, got some comments. Dance party. That's right, Queen. What a beat. StreamYard did good on this one.
Very good.
Man.
Very good.
Yeah, so I really love this empowerment that we're really stepping into with this wonderful book. And from the micro to macro level, it's all our accountable decision making of our free will as an energetic being. And man, trust me, it gets a little tricky in this video game world, where we gotta continuously be in motion. Sometimes we just wanna, be all the way up here, and all the way up there. We don't really have to be in motion. But down here in this 3D world, your body, you don't get emotion in some type of fashion, it'll literally start sinking into the dimensions, the density. That's what's very intriguing. It's like, so like, you know, when you like sleep a little bit too long, or you're like laying or sitting in bed most of the day, and then literally you just feel like your body's all heavy, and you're just like, oh.
Exactly.
And then you feel like you have to like really, obviously not catch up, but like it's that feeling of like, oh man, like I gotta catch up to feeling like normal, to feeling like I can actually move. And it's that kind of thing too with like our overall energy and the way our energy's flowing, because you know, we're constant in motion vibratory beings, and with that's automatically happening. Now, the way that we're allowing the rate of that vibration to be at, that's ultimately in our hands with what it is that we are doing with our mind body soul complex. And then with that, we're able to find that harmonious connection that we talk about in spirituality, where instead of resisting, fighting, forcing, we're finding the harmonious flow that is able to flow through us and with us as like a dance partner, so to say. So instead of, it's like water, you know, like water is already here to be water. We don't have to force water to be like, you know, we ain't going over to the ocean and we're not stomping our feet over in the sand and looking at the ocean and being like, hey, you water, I need you to make tides. I need you to be water. No, what we do is we acknowledge it for what it is and what it's divinely created as. And then we form our own harmonious relationship with it in whatever way is authentic to our own self. And of course, that journey always changes over time, depending on where you're at, your perception, what you're doing. But that's with all of life, though. And we have the free will choice of how am I going to relate to this energy, through this form, and I can still continue. What a precious gift. Back to you.
Exactly. What a precious gift, right? What a precious gift. From time to time, I am aware. I have a cap here that's like what I say. I've had it since I maybe was 18 years old, and I keep pushing at it. When you see me lean, it's because I see in this 4D visual that we're learning. I can see where it's loose because it's showing all the old adhesive coming out. So that's why you see me do this. But it's about when I get to the dentist, I get to say, here's what happens. I use this as an example. I knew the divine was going to eventually use it as an example. It's you hear the dentist or the dentist talk about it. Yeah, we can do it. The dentist itself is not into money. Their staff is. So the staff is going to come in and all of a sudden they start saying, oh, it's $10,000 to replace the cap. And I just use that as an exaggeration. It's not 10. I think it's maybe about 500, right? Because they don't do this the same way they did it then. They've upgraded. And guess what? According to them, their upgrade costs X, Y, and Z. And every time they do, they catch me at a moment where finances, I'm not going to say the finances aren't in play for that, because they were in play for something else that I intended that something else to be. Now, I could certainly take that something else that was to be and utilize that for this. And I had to sit with the divine, and the divine says, no, that's not what you asked me for it for. But Sandee, you have free will. Do what you want. And I get to say, oh, now this is what my dentist said. This is so, I don't know, so spiritually said. If it don't hurt you, if you can keep pushing it up and it sticks for a while, even when you bite an apple, you can wait a minute. I'd suggest that you take $10, put it aside, and then when you have the requirement, we do it then. Does it hurt you, Sandra? No. And this is the first time I heard it from a physician, whether it's dentist or whatnot. He says, well, I suggest you take what you need and leave what you don't. My suggestion is, if it ain't hurting you, if it's not falling out, if it's not falling out in your hand and you're putting it back up there, then leave it till you can fix it accordingly. Now, this is maybe somebody who, with another customer, or I say customer, another client might suggest something different, but that's only because I believe he was vibrating in my vibration by giving me a statement vibrationally that was for my highest, greatest good, because that's where I was vibrating. But the next person might not be vibrating there. They might want to take it and make it into, something that's going to give them a negative effect. And guess what? I don't believe this dentist knew that that's what he was vibrationally doing, or maybe he did. But so when you see me go like this, it's because I'm pushing it up and coming back. Because when you do a close-up on me, if it slipped out, you see a little black thing that looks like I was eating seaweed and I didn't, clean my tooth. Right? But it might not be annoying to somebody else, but sometimes it's annoying to me. But it's not painful. Therefore, I'm going to keep doing it until I'm almost there. I have other things that I attend my money for, but I take from that and I intend to grow that so that I go back and I can pay cash for it. Not a credit card. I don't want a vibrational credit card. I don't want to get a credit card. I want to spend vibrational cash so that comes back to me vibrationally. That's my choice. Right? Because I've heard other people say, well, Sandee, just get a credit card and then you can put it on your credit card. But it doesn't matter. You have a credit card, you still have to pay for what's on the credit card. That's not my vibration. But I don't go and tell somebody, oh, you're wrong for having a ton of plastic in your wallet. That's not my job. My thing is to say thank you very much for your suggestion, and I'll be happy to talk to you again. I'm going to go this way. That's how we start to manipulate and use our tools for what is for our highest and greatest good. Nobody is going to know that but you. That's why Ra is teaching us about the chakras, teaching us about the vibration, teaches us about the law of attraction, teaching us that here is not the only place that it is being used. It's used in every galaxy, on every timeline. We're no different than that. And you can go sit on your timelines and actually visualize them, see them, and see how when you wake up from that timeline, how you can access the vibration of it in your now moment. It's not about you going and changing every timeline that you ever existed in to have a better now moment. Those timelines exist for versions of you that have free will as well. That blew my mind when the divine told me that. And I don't need me. The divine told me I didn't need to cut a cord from another timeline. I shouldn't have been messing with it in the first place. I should have just been observing it. That blew my mind. But that might be for me. One size may not fit all. So when I say it for me, it doesn't mean I'm saying it for you. You take what resonates and you leave the rest in the room. What do you mean by leave the rest in your room, Sandra? Don't touch it with your energy. Let somebody else take that energy and transform it to what they want. Don't take it in so that you can judge it or debate it, because you're going to get exactly what you're debating. And if you're trying to prove somebody wrong, guess what? The vibration of the universe says, okay, I'm going to open a door where you have to prove, somebody's proving to you that you're wrong. Why do I settle with that? Because it's infinite possibilities. We're in the best place for those. So if the big T in the politics wants to be exactly who he is, let him be it. That's what he came to be. He's only inviting you into his playground. You don't have to play there. You have to decide how you're going to exist around the playground in your play area. I'm not going to deny him. He wanted to be president 2 times. Let it be so. And his people that wanted to play in that arena are playing there. I'm not playing there, but that's okay. Why? Because I get to grow and expand wherever I'm playing on the playground. Body, mind, and soul. Did I wake up in total body, mind, and soul? No, I woke up in asking about the information about my soul. I woke up asking about religion. Did I grow into mind? Yes, I did. Because I asked, why is everything always happening to me, not through me? And the divine showed me how I was creating and why my mind was doing what it was doing. Then I had to learn how to combine all 3, because I am a triune. I am part of the tri-union of all that is and all that is not. And I have to deep dive into all of the polarity experience. And when you see me do this, it's because that's how I talk to my granddaughter, who is nonverbal at the time. This means good or yes for her. So when I say yes, it doesn't mean that you have to believe it. It's yes. Is it for you? Or no, is it not? I love this music. For me, it takes me into myself, and then it lets me allow the divine to channel through me. Do you see the difference? Because sometimes I'm going with my words, and all of a sudden you hear me stumble and stutter and because I'm fighting the divine for the words. I know what I want to say, and the divine knows what they want to say. And then I just let go. But today, The divine told me to focus on the music. And I got to reveal a little bit about me and why I do certain things, and allow myself to sit in it as I speak it to you. It doesn't matter whether you're judging me or not for it. It doesn't matter whether you're going to hit my DM and say, well, I got a cure for this, or I know how to do this, or it's not about that. It's about me deep diving into me. And this is the vehicle and the vessel and the experience that the divine wanted to take me on the deep dive. Open myself up to me feeling a certain way. Okay. I can't tell you how many dark nights of the soul that I've been on where it's been unalive. That even if it hasn't been for you, doesn't mean however you're going through it is wrong. No, there's infinite possibilities. Grow and expand. I'd like to thank you right now for being part of this. Oh, it's now the 53rd episode, I do believe. And I might be incorrect because, you know, the days and the months and the years that we've been doing this, they all merge together. I don't think that I see things in a straight line anymore.
58.
See what I mean? I'm
Yeah, that's how I am.
episodes shy. 58 episodes. I got it right last week, but I'm going to tell you. Whew. So I hope you come back for 59. It is my intention to be here and inspire and motivate, to teach and help you edify if you so choose. So see you next Wednesday. Same raw channel, same raw time. Back to you, Marcus.
Thank you so much for a wonderful episode. Thank you to all of you in the comments today, especially on the Facebook side. Thank you all for expressing and sharing love today. And I hope that we can just continue to build this communion and synergy and take the momentum of this space into our other aspects of our world and life as we move forward from this space today. And may we remember as well that anything that we felt, liked, enjoyed about this space, we can take and embody as well and carry that more into our life and in other people's lives. So just know that it doesn't stop here. This raw energy, this momentum, this building that we're in, and that is just continuous. You know, it continues outside of this live, then it continues into your dinner time, continues into when you go to bed, and then it continues as you rest and then go into the next rising. And it continues on and on. So just remember momentum and just where your mindset's at. And there's tremendous things that we have at our hands with our mind, body, soul complex. And I'm really grateful for really all of it. For all of you guys out there, I have some local events coming up in Ohio. I have a full moon event on the 12th in Columbus. And then I also will be at the Salt Cave in Columbus as well on the 18th for an Egyptian style inner child healing Salt Cave journey. And then I will be in Colorado from June 6th to the 9th for a Colorado holistic retreat. And if you're someone that would be interested and you would like to sign up and come out, join us in Colorado and have a wonderful holistic space, just reach out to me, let me know, or you can check out my link down below, that listen.to/sacredlight33, and you'll see a part where it says retreat signups. And you just click on that, and you'll be able to see all my retreats for the year. And then you just click on which retreat, and that will take you to the sign up form. So with that being said, all of you guys have a beautiful and blessed day wherever you are in this world. Wholeness and balanced love.
Wholeness and balanced love. Wholeness and unconditional balanced love. Right? So, some news for me. On Wednesdays, about 3:30, not Wednesdays. Oh, you know what? Let's roll this again. On Mondays at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I will be doing my book readings. One day a week, just one day a week. And on Friday, 5:55 p.m., I will be doing Soul Awakening Conversations with Sandra. 5:55 Pacific Standard Time. It will be live on Instagram and YouTube. And it will be my work in progress, because I will be doing it from one platform, but having it accommodated with my Restream. So I'm stepping outside of my comfort zone, people. Come step outside of my unknown. Come with me and join me while I romp around my known, while I make it known. Whew. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I've been waiting for that clarity from the divine. And that's it. I'll be reading a book till I'm finished. The book that I'm reading right now is called Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. So I will be officially doing it on Monday afternoon, evening, depending on what you call it. And it'll be morning to those in the Australia and maybe Canada, it'll be a little bit later. Australia and the UK, it will be a little bit more in the morning time. But I think we got it where we get to accommodate it all. If not, it will be in replay. And you will catch it on my YouTube. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful stuff to be a part of, everybody. And of course, you guys can always tap in with the Sacred Light Broadcast Network, where we are all streaming, and you can catch replays of Sandee's Soul Awakening Chit Chats on Tuesdays at 4 p.m., as well as Saturdays at noon for her star meditations. And we have things in rotation daily, 3 to 4 different live streams, Facebook and YouTube. You guys just tap in, ask questions if you need to, and we're here for you. Have a good one.
Have a great day. Peace.
If your soul feels out of sync with the universe, it's time to reconnect. Join us at Ascending with Our Roots Holistic Retreat,